like really polarizing.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
But that moment is special because there's value in suffering. And in today's society, we have convinced ourselves.
I just don't like the way he really does present himself as a fucking idiot who is trying to act much smarter than he is. And not Joe Rogan. I really respect one thing about Joe Rogan. I respect a couple different things about Joe Rogan. But the thing I respect about Joe Rogan the most is that he recognizes his stupidity, right? Joe Rogan always recognizes his intellectual limitation. He admits them all the time. Same with me. I'm a dumb himbo. There is a thin himbo line always as part of the reason why I fucking will, have some respect for someone like Chris Cuomo. You know what I mean? Same with Joe Rogan, right? Dan, on the other hand, is like unaware of his limitations. He would be a himbo if he recognized how fucking stupid he is. And instead tries to make up for his lack of knowledge in any particular field by like just doing the fucking high school essay shit. Like, well, once again, you've asked me a question, but let me describe to you what the theory behind classical liberalism is. Well, there is value in suffering. You've asked me a question about the COVID vaccinations. Well, let me tell you. Let me endlessly pontificate by describing to you the multitudes of reasons as to why there is actual suffering behind those eyes. No one knows what it's like to be a madman, to be a sad man. Sorry. Yeah. Oops, I got philosophical. Oh, your argument is lavatorial. It's puerile. Okay.
That there is no value in suffering, that the entire role of, say, government is to end your suffering. But this is a false promise. Not only is it a false promise, but it will create a weak society that is unable to sustain itself.
Okay, don't use roads then, bitch. I hate this. Fuck off, dude. I hate this shit. I hate it. Like, this argument makes no sense. We gotta re-listen to it. Hold on.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
But that
the government should not meet basic fucking amenities, okay, as a unit, because that will make us weaker. Okay, literally live in a cave.
Moment is special because there's value in suffering. And in today's society, we have convinced ourselves that there is no value in suffering, that the entire role of, say, government is to end your suffering. But this is a false promise. Not only is it a false promise, but it will create a weak society that is unable to sustain itself. That's a really important point, and I think there's
society sustains itself through so much collective action that you're just fucking washing away, as though like society is just a bunch of fucking individuals who are literally trading bread for guns or some shit, and everything is still operating through the barter system, and we don't have fucking roads, or we don't have infrastructure, we don't have transportation. It's so stupid. This is, again, a very dumb person portraying themselves as a very smart person and failing to do so. It sounds like the government is the bad guy. It like literally doesn't matter what it sounds like. It's just a fucking idiotic take from the son of an oil baron. Well, not a baron, but like an oil engineer that traveled the entire world, by the way. So remember that.
Deep truth in that. This is why victimhood politics is so dangerous, and I would say populism is too. I think the two are almost indistinguishable.
You're a conservative, brother.
Distinguishable from each other. People are always trying to talk about populism.
This is pure projection. Conservatives, there are two certainties, okay, in life. One, conservatives are always going to engage in right-wing populism, which is racism for the most part, or nationalist racism, and also on top of that, they're always going to engage in victimhood politics, like victimhood narratives, as though they are the ones who are under attack. The second certainty in life, for those of you who do not know, is that at the top of every hour, there is a 60-second ad break. Now, this is the third one of the day, okay? A contractual obligation given to me, Hasanabi, by Amazon. Now, you might be wondering, like, how can I watch the stream without any sort of ad breaks? I want a continuous broadcast experience. Well, don't worry, my friend. All you need to do is subscribe. You could do it for $5, or you could do it for free by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. And this way, you can, use your one free Twitch subscription that you get by Amazon on me, your favorite streamer. Okay. God damn, that was a smooth ass fucking segue. And, let's see those primers in the chat. I'm going to run the ad and also run the video at the same time. So get wrecked if you don't subscribe. Sorry. Here it is.
Populism on the right and the left. And I say, look, well, here's what populism is. It's telling you what you feel. It's mirroring your feelings back to you.
Very different than what Donald Trump has done, by the way, which is ironic. That's just, you're a demagogue, okay? Demagogues do this, and they do it very well, and that's what Trump did, and that's kind of what Dan Crenshaw tries to do but fails to do, and that's probably why he's poo-pooing it.
Telling you what you want to hear as opposed to the truth. So that, I think that's a decent definition of populism. I don't like it. I don't like people embracing it. It doesn't just mean, hey, things that are good that people are for. Well, you know what? A lot of people are for $1,600 checks that are free. That doesn't mean it's a good policy.
Right.
That's a good example.
Right. People, shut the fuck up, dude. Oh, here we go, brother. Let's hear it. I wonder why he thinks the stimmies were bad. Let's
voted. If they voted and said, do you want $100,000 free a year?
Totally.
Everybody would vote yes.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
but is it a sustainable policy? You know, of course not.
Of course not.
Notice how Joe Rogan said $100,000 every year. Notice how the number that he used wasn't $2,000. Notice how the number that he used wasn't $1,600. Notice how the number he used wasn't $5,000 fucking dollars. Why? Because there's a difference between $100,000 and $2,000. Okay? You're bringing it out to an entirely different argument when you draw it out to an absurd fucking place. You're literally making an argument that is absurd and exaggerated, which is not the point of contention at all. One should recognize that when they are engaging in such an argument. There's a difference between giving someone $2,000 versus giving someone $100,000. Also, the stimulus checks literally worked.
And the kind of amounts to the I think drastic lurches in welfare policy or infrastructure spending and all of these things that we're seeing. It's populism on steroids. It's telling you what you want to hear. And that's not truth. That's not truth. And we have to get back to truth. And we have to get away from this victimhood mentality where
this is dude, Dan Crenshaw is too much of a Democrat, brother. That's it. That's the reason why he will never fucking be president and he will never win. This is like literally the quintessential neoliberal argument, which is the truth, sweaty, is too difficult for you to comprehend with your fucking average Joe layman pre-brain, okay? Sorry, government is very difficult and infrastructure spending is too hard to fucking accomplish. Like, that's what liberals do all the fucking time. That's why I shit on liberals all the fucking time. And Dan Crenshaw is literally doing that right now, while also simultaneously lying about like how difficult it is or how fucking what the outcomes of infrastructure bills look like. But regardless, he's doing that like annoying little thing, that annoying little like, well, it's too hard. It's too hard for you to comprehend. I mean, I think people just want lies to be told to them, and that's populism. And what I'm doing is just the truth, and it's too hard to comprehend. It's like, no, it's not, motherfucker. No, it's not.
We actually elevate this idea of being helpless. See, that's what's changed. That's what's changed in the last decade. It used to be that, well, you might feel some shame if you were the type to, you know what, I need some help. I feel bad about it. I'm going to get back on my feet, but I need some help right now. That used to be the sort of American way, all right? We need a safety net. Nobody would disagree with that. We need a safety net. We need to help people who have truly fallen on hard times, who lost their jobs because of COVID. But does that also mean we need to provide a $1,400 check to somebody who never lost their job and whose biggest hardship has been Zoom meetings? Of course not. But over 100 million people were getting checks that never lost their jobs.
100 million?
Easily.
Through COVID?
It's way more. It's way more than that. I'm cutting it off at 100 million. So
hold on, explain that to me.
When we send out checks, the direct cash payments, I've always been against direct cash payments.
Okay, brother. I hate this argument. He's just making numbers up, by the way. It's so funny. I love this. I love this take. It's like, oh, dude, 100 million people who didn't lose their jobs still got a check. Bro, even if they didn't fucking lose their jobs, it still helped, okay? It still helped. They were still going through a fucking pandemic, okay? Their jobs very likely got limited in a way. It doesn't fucking matter. That number of money wasn't even, all that helpful. There should have been more money. But it's like they still need to eat. You know what I mean? Don't most American workers live paycheck to paycheck? They do. Lastly, people got pay cuts. People had their fucking hours removed or limited, but as a consequence of the lockdowns. But lastly, like that kind of consumer spending was one of the reasons as to why the economy was able to recover in the way that it did. Now, not only that, but also it was literally pointed out that poverty in the beginning of the pandemic was at its lowest fucking level as a consequence of these stimulus checks. Like, we eradicated a certain part of poverty in this country during a fucking pandemic, and not just because of the cash infusion, the stimmies that came in the beginning of the pandemic, but mostly also because of the unemployment insurance. Now, the argument is the added UI benefits. So the question here should be, would you be willing to give more to those less wealthy? Because if this is your argument, if you're saying like people that don't deserve the money got money, then you should be against tax cuts in its entirety, because the argument made for tax cuts is that it job creates for poor people. Wealthy people get tax cuts. They reinvest that money back into the economy. This is basically a one-time tax credit. This stimulus, you can see it as a one-time tax credit, pretty much. So if you're anti stimulus checks, then you're basically saying you're anti tax cuts. Actually, that's not even true. The only reason why this is something that conservatives argue against is because poor people get a pretty sizable, i.e., the same amount of fucking tax credits that the rich people get. That's the reason why they're so upset about this. When it comes down to fucking tax cuts, poor people don't actually get a serious, sizable tax cut. To the likes that like rich people get. Why are people saying that's not true? I'm confused why. You recognize that everyone was impacted in a negative way by the pandemic, and that's why we shouldn't do lockdowns, but doesn't want to give people their stimmy in order to deal with some issues that he mentions. Trickle down is not true? Okay, I know trickle down is not true.
Payments.
So the COVID stimulus checks.
Yeah.
So
because they go out to anybody
people got
who makes
those checks that didn't lose their jobs.
Of course.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. The confusion here is that Joe Rogan probably doesn't comprehend that the $1,200 stimmy that came in the beginning of the pandemic was somewhat universal. I mean, it was still means tested, but it was for everyone that, including myself even, that made less than a certain amount of money.
The cutoff was like $75K a year. So that means... Wait a minute. That means every federal... Well, not every,
so people
but a lot of federal workers
lose
getting them
any
too.
money because of the pandemic still got checks?
Yeah, these were never based on your situation.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
It's ridiculous.
I didn't know that. I thought you had to lose your job. I thought there was a problem.
Oh my God, he's so fucking stupid, dude. He's literally substituting unemployment insurance with like fucking the stimmies that were means tested. Oh my fucking Lord, dude. Again, though, if you want to means test like universal benefits, the way to do it is after the fact. You fucking tax people additionally after the fact if you really, really want to do it. Not before. give the money to everyone, and then, you know, tax them afterwards if they have made too much money that year. How are you supposed to figure out everyone's situation? I mean, you can. I'm describing it to you. That's the best way to do it. Are you ever going to talk about the GameStop stock, the greatest act of economic collectivism and the catalyst of the next major financial meltdown? I have already. I find it so dumb that people fucking like. I'm not going to get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
If you're
so
stab-
it's fucking communism. When communism is when you buy stocks, and the more you hold the stocks, the more communism it is.
People who never lost a penny. So if you look at their tax receipts, you look at their what they made in 2019
Right.
versus 2020.
Correct.
If they didn't lose any money.
Yeah, no, it's based on your just your income. So I think 75K a year was the cutoff. But also, if you're a married couple, 150K, and if you have kids, then it's even more. So you've got like I've got like a lot of active duty military friends who are getting thousands of dollars because, you know, they have kids, but it's like, why? And they're like, why am I getting this? Is such a waste of taxpayer money.
Oh my god, cucks, dude. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Bro, if you're active duty military and you ask that question, you're a gigantic cuck lord, okay? You are the dumbest motherfucker. Like, holy shit, dude. You probably make fun of like jarheads and shit. You yourself are the dumbest cuck. Holy shit. Imagine being like, why am I getting extra money? Let me tell you guys something, okay? And I've said this before, so you already know this. Rich people never ask that question, all right? Not only do rich people never ask, why is the government giving me any money? But they literally fucking say, why is the government not giving me more money? Give me more money, government boy. You work for me. Jesus Christ. The irony of course, working for the Defense Department and criticizing government spending is not lost on me. That's an entirely different circumstance. Imagine being literally a government employee, like a military member, and being like, why is the government spending so much money right now? Bitch, your entire existence relies on the government grossly overspending. Also, I don't believe that. Like, the reality is, Dan Crenshaw probably knows a lot of fucking idiots, okay? But no one, I don't think any one of his fucking friends are that stupid, especially because the majority of conservatives were on board with these stimmies as well. So I don't know why he's like talking about it like this was a fucking purely Democratic thing.
Money. You know what I mean? Do your duty and go spend it on a local business that's been suffering.
The money was allocated to people that lost money because of the pandemic.
No. Because we already have a system for that. It's unemployment insurance. Our system works fine for that. And this was always my thing. It's like, look, I'm in favor of temporarily boosting payments to those who are unemployed on unemployment insurance. Usually state-run unemployment insurance runs at it's at a formula that would make sure that you're not making more than you would have if you were already employed, because you don't want to have a disincentive to go back to work.
Right.
What we did in the initial stages of the pandemic was increase that to an extra $600 a week if you're unemployed. I'm okay with that for a few weeks during hard times. The problem is Democrats want to keep it forever.
Dude, that is so disgusting, dude.
And now every business
The system is literally not supposed to work in places, especially like Florida, by the way. Like, straight up, the system is not supposed to work. It does not work. And people like Ron DeSantis admit that it's not supposed to work, as far as unemployment insurance being hellish to navigate. They do not want you to be able to get money even when you desperately need it.
I talked to is like, I can't hire people. I have so many job openings right now, can't hire anybody because we still have it. It's 300.
I love that. God damn it, dude. I love that, dude. Just make stuff up. Just, again, when you got nothing else going on, just fucking make shit up, dumbass. Why would you ever look into anything? Are you fucking stupid? Just make stuff up. Dude, I had so many people, bro. I had so many people, dude. So many people that were just like looking to hire people, and you know, no one wanted to work because they were on the government dime, dude. Great. Yeah, it's my truth. Exactly.
$100 a week, but we still have it. It means people are getting paid to stay home. There's a distance. They're making a purely rational financial decision. But again, that's one conversation. That's at least a debate to be had, during hard times. But the direct cash payments, that's nuts. That's nuts.
What are the direct cash payments?
That's the free money. That's the free money. That's the free money.
So this is the people that, even though they still...
I don't understand. Why don't you just work for the government like I do as a congressperson and get paid $140,000 a year regardless of how many fucking days off I take? You know what I mean? Like, hey, morons, like if you fucking were living through the pandemic, or 174,000, sorry, not 147. Yeah, hey, dumbasses, like, why don't you make $170,000 a year? Why don't you go on Indeed and fucking swipe all the way? All of you poor fucks, you stop at 35K, you should just keep sliding. You should keep sliding it all the way until you reach Congress. That's how it works, bro. Fuck.
Still make the same amount they made in 2019.
Everyone knows.
2020, they got
Literally
a big check
everyone
for no
knows.
reason.
Only dumbasses don't.
100%.
They're so stupid.
That seems crazy.
And that's
if you didn't lose your
if you
job,
do the math, that's well over 100 million people.
and they just got it. They didn't ask for it. They just received it. So it's not something they're guilty of.
Yeah.
They just received it.
Guilty of.
But it gets to the culture.
Yeah, there's definitely guilt in fucking getting government stimmies, dude. Fuck me. So stupid.
Argument that we're talking about. No, there was no backlash for this. Even on the right, I remember, and I was a little frustrated with the president or the ex-president, Donald Trump, the president I voted for. That he was pushing for those $2,000 cash payments. I said,
But don't you think that he was doing that politically? And I didn't vote for him.
That's the point.
But don't you think
that's the point? That's
political.
That's exactly the point. There's an incentive now to pay people off with their own money, and it's not good.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Don't you think that he was in a desperation situation where he?
Dude, why are they making this? First of all, there is always dire economic situation in the United States of America. If the majority of your citizens don't have $400 in additional spending, right, in emergency funds, and that means they're living paycheck to fucking paycheck. Like, then there's always an opportunity that there's always a need for extra spending. There's always a need for money. Now, having said that, even beyond that, like, this didn't happen for no reason. It happened in the middle of a fucking pandemic where people lost their jobs, had to have their jobs severely limited. There was no way of immediately getting people unemployment insurance. The state unemployment processes were already completely underfunded and broken even before this pandemic occurred. Like, there was so many fucking reasons for why there was a need for unemployment insurance. I do not understand why they're talking about it as though this is like any given moment. Like, they're talking about it as though Donald Trump was just like, oh, I really want to give people money. That's not how this happened. It's not how this occurred. Did they forget? Did they forget the reasons as to why this happened? Why are they also constantly talking about how, like, free education isn't actually free, but then taxpayers are funding it, but then they literally forget that this is our money, motherfucker. Like, what are you talking about? This is the money of taxpayers. Okay? You didn't literally give your own money to fund this entire UI program. It's our money. We're just getting it back. Shut the fuck up. So what? What is the problem? It's the basis for, I mean, he did say it, but it's the basis for why tax breaks are a necessity. I'm just saying, I don't understand. Like, it's never our money is going to corporations when it comes to corporate bailouts, but it's our money when it comes to poor people receiving it. That's the thing that I always hate. That's the thing that I always fucking hate about the way conservatives operate. It is always wasteful spending when it comes to poor people getting any money.
He just wanted to get reelected. I mean, he's coming through this.
This was in December. He'd already lost.
Oh, so in December after he lost, he's still. But he didn't think he lost. He thought he was
It's a
still
whole
gonna,
different conversation. I don't know if you
that's
want to
a
get into
different.
it.
It's a good conversation. He thought he was going to somehow or another get reinstated.
I don't know if he ever truly believed that, but
He was pushing for it.
But yeah, it is on the victimhood side. This is the demise of the republic. When people are comfortable with being bought off with their own tax dollars, and being comfortable, even more than that, comfortable with being told that they're victimized and that some other group is responsible for that victimization.
Right. So it's
This is
not just
identity
that they're in a
politics.
bad situation. They're in a bad
somebody else
situation because
isn't-
someone did it to you.
And maybe it's the 1%. Maybe it's
Right.
those mean corporate giants, and now those corporate giants are trying to get all woke and get on the Democrats' good side.
I don't know why who is in favor of this? Who is in favor of this? I don't get it. He is a man alone over here. He does sound a lot like fucking neoliberals, brother. I'm telling you, Republicans were on board with this. Republican voters were on board with this. He is poo-pooing his own base of support right now. He's wagging his finger at his own base of support. No wonder Joe Rogan got criticized hella hard after this podcast.
And being comfortable, even more than that, comfortable with being told that they're victimized and that some other group is responsible for that victimization.
Right. So it's
This is
not just
identity
that they're in a bad
politics.
situation. They're in a
So
bad
somebody else
situation because
isn't-
someone did it to you.
And maybe it's the 1%. Maybe it's
Right.
those mean corporate giants, and now those corporate giants are trying to get all woke and get on the Democrats' good side, like they always do.
Yeah.
Because they want to maintain their little piece of the pie.
That's where it gets tricky, right? Where they manipulate the narrative and they realize where people's heads are at, so they try to jump on board. Catch new episodes.
Bro, this actually sucks. I totally understand why people were not necessarily enthusiastic about this video. Okay, Dan Crenshaw on the political polarization of COVID is the last one. But the top post on the Joe Rogan subreddit, which normally fucking shits on me every time my videos get highlighted there because they think I'm like attacking Joe Rogan and I'm fucking Young Turk's cuck or whatever, is I lost all respect for Joe Rogan today. 30.9K upvotes, boys. Okay? Hold on. Let's take a look. First off, I imagine this would promptly be removed. If not, then I have a newfound respect for the mods here. I saw this podcast with Crenshaw and the way that Crenshaw tried to demonize stimulus checks, and I thought for sure Joe would be the voice of reason, but nah, he was the same out of touch ass dude he's always been. Like, how do you, Crenshaw, sit on less than $1 trillion going to actual working class Americans, yet don't even bring up the fact that we've spent more than 10x that on corporate bailouts? Rogan is an out of touch fucking fraud. Dude acts like he's a pinnacle of fitness. Well, he's actually a TRT bitch. Oh shit, he hit him there. He acts like he's some super intellectual, but he's actually just a grifter and agrees with whoever he feels is the smartest person in the room. He acts larger than life, but the dude is half an inch taller than the girl I fuck. Oh my God. Oh my God. And he acts like he's original for moving to Texas to escape taxes, yet he was there. Yet there was a mass exodus already happening 5 years before. Tune in next week where Joe endorses UBI with Andrew Yang. Edit, LMFAO, the people pissed about the stab at his height. No one gives a shit if you're short, just own it. Edit number 2, I have a newfound respect for the mods here. After 12 years of moderating this forum, I'll never understand where these accusations come from. We don't censor dissenting opinions on Joe or GRE just because we try to steer this is my personal soapbox comments. I would love to see a rolling median income statistic of every Joe Rogan guest over time. Roger subreddit is super critical of him, not a representation of the millions that watch Joe. I mean, it is wild. Like, how the fuck can you be like on board with Andrew Yang? How the fuck can you be on board with Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders and then turn around and have Crenshaw on and then like agree with the dumbest things that he's saying about government spending? How the fuck can you call yourself a libertarian who's like anti-war for the most part and then turn around and literally have the face of war on your broadcast and like suck him off?